Hello YouTube, this is Augustus Larch. I decided to do a more calm ambience for my 5 facts vlog. And this is how it goes right now. First, fact number 1, I'd like to make a note that I'm the authentic queer. And I'd like to take the word back from the word that the mainstream has applied to a subculture. It applies to somebody's sexual orientation. And I'll tell you what, the original, if somebody said queer, they meant a non-conventional person. And if anybody fits the profile of a non-conventional person, it is me. So I am the authentic queer. And if you want to know just how queer I am from the normal conventions, I'm a devoted ascetic, and in this world, a devoted ascetic is a rare and non-conventional thing, and that's what I am. An ascetic is somebody who puts himself at ill comfort and puts themselves through mental and physical catharsis to extend their perception and to flesh out a more solid context within the world that they live in, and to understand things more completely. That's why I'm an ascetic. And originally I became an ascetic because I didn't like where my life was going. And the first thing I swore off was sex, because that's what you deny yourself certain things. So I took a vow of chastity, and it served me well. It's freed up a lot of my time. You don't know how much time you gain when you're not concerned about when you're going to get your genitals wet next. Really frees up the time. And also, where does that lead? It leads to family and children. And if you think pursuing the opposite sex or any kind of sex eats up the time, just wait till children. They'll really eat up the time. And one thing about being an ascetic, it teaches you the value of morals. And if you deny yourself, the first thing I denied myself was sex, the chastity. And then 3 years down the road, I denied myself alcohol, which I should have done earlier. Alcohol is a very damaging thing to the individual and the whole community. It hurts a lot of people. And it goes on a lot, and I don't know why it's the only legal option. It seems like there's very powerful people in control that are cultivating a certain type of population that they aspire to have, to sell to, easy to control, and it seems like it's part of an agenda. And that brings me to my third fact, is that I have a divine calling to destroy religion. I believe religion is a horrible instrument of mass mind control. It teaches people that they should not take responsibility for themselves and leave it up to some robed figure in the clouds that they won't meet until after they die. If people look at the whole big picture, if they take a parallactic view of the situation, it's easy to see how flawed religion is for the adherents, for those devoted to it. Really, what it doesn't teach morals, it's pseudo-morals. Oh, it does. That's not moral, to leave it up to somebody else. It's got that's turning the big wheels in the sky. Wrong. So I'm at a lifelong quest to destroy religion. Which brings me on to my fourth aspect. I'd like to start an intellectual movement and teach people the skills of shamanism, because I have always had the inherent natural abilities of a shaman. The thing about it is they're not very consistent, and but they seem to, whenever I need them the most, when in a clutch situation, when my life depends on it, it seems like I always wiggle free. And in those times of trial, I remember, man, that thing that my brain did or my body did. That was that was a good thing that happened, and I'd like to replicate that again, and sometimes I can. And I'm publishing a little bit. I'm writing down notes and trying to work out a process on how to teach this, and that would make me a real shaman, because I cannot call myself a shaman because I'm not even close. And that brings me along to my fifth fact, and that I am training for the apocalypse. Yes, tell people that and they really give you a look, you know, but I am. But I don't believe it's the apocalypse. That's something that the Vatican like to promote. I call it the epocalypse because it's just the turn of the epoch. You know, it's the change of the age. There's ages separated by cataclysms. And in 3 years here, we're due for a grand cataclysm, according to the Mayans, in 2012. And if anybody knows geology, they know that this planet goes through a certain polar shift every so often. And being an ascetic helps. Being mindful of shamanistic abilities, that could help. And I hope I develop and get myself all together before the apocalypse comes, before the grand cataclysm. Because it's going to be bad for a lot of people, but I've been training for it for years. But this is Augustus Larch, and you are just privy to my 5 facts. This is Augustus Larch.